Alright, so hello everybody, welcome to another video. I'm here with Boots again. You may have caught us 2 days ago. We were talking about some of the new expansion mechanics. What was it last time, Boots?
It was the being able to use the elite spec weapons everywhere.
Yeah, so bit of a groundwork update. I talked about it in like my initial video, then I did a deep dive with Boots about it earlier in the week. Today we're looking at the other side of that coin. So basically weapons are kind of not tied to elite specs now, and what that allows them to do with their mini X-Packs, and Secrets of the Obscure is going to be the first time we see this, is they're just going to put some new weapons in. And it means you will get new skills, you will get to play with new stuff, but it's not as expansive as an elite spec. So they have announced...
but hold on a second though, it's not as expensive as an elite spec, but because this weapon is usable on every single spec, all elite specs and your core specs, it's in some ways more impactful than just the elite, like the weapons you get with a normal elite spec.
That's good. That's a good point. You know, in some ways I'm underwhelmed by this. I had a lot of very exciting ideas about what they could do to replace elite specializations if they were too difficult for the scope of a mini X-Pack. But what you just said there is very true, and what we're going to talk about really in this video is that so they've announced the list of what's getting what. We're gonna chat about it and do another little tier list, Boots, for funsies, okay. As what we think will be fun and exciting, based on whatever we want. Okay.
Now I think we could only talk about what we think might be fun or exciting, because we don't know anything about these weapons besides what they are.
Yeah, I mean, there's some speculation we can do, based on the opening paragraph they've written. They give us this screenshot here, which is a virtuoso using axe pistol is not actually using any new stuff, but there you go. So here's just what Arena says before we jump into it. They say this isn't a future update. So to be clear, when Secrets of the Obscure comes out, you get the weapon mastery, which we did on the previous video. These new weapons don't actually drop right at the start of the expansion. We have to wait for one of the subsequent quarterlies. And I don't think they even really announced which one it is. Have they, Boots? I don't think that they said.
I don't think they did, but I'm assuming it's like the first.
I would hope so. They haven't said. And quite a lot of this expansion announcement...
Wait, this is planned for the second major release.
Oh, is that what they say there? Okay, yeah. So we're pretty late into the expansion when we get these. The expansion's actually taken a lot of stuff, and it says, well, you'll get them later. And I think there's two ways you can look at that. You can look at that as, oh, they're really struggling. They really are very resource limited, and there's not going to be much in this X-Pack. Or you can look at it the other way and say, well, they're really trying to hone in and explain to you that, you know, what you're buying when you buy one of these mini X-Packs is the year of updates. And so, you know, that trickle is okay, I guess. I don't know. It depends whether you want to be an optimist or a cynic or whatever, right? But
I think it also has a lot to do with they're already, you know, unleashing a bee's nest with the elite spec weapons being able to be used everywhere, that they're going to have to try to balance after it's released.
Yeah.
And then they probably need at least the amount of time from the first release to before they just add extra weapons as well. Like, they'll have to balance it, and then this gets released, and then they'll have to balance it again.
I think you've got a really good point there. I like the idea of they do a quarterly release and drop the weapons, and then they can really focus on how that actually impacted the game, and then do the follow-up patches, the hotfix patches, and then, you know, just round it out. I kind of like that. You know, we almost saw that just recently. They did the big boon update, and then the next balance, like, really tries to refine it. I like that incremental approach. I actually made the argument for many times over the years. I mean, we're in a totally different landscape now, but I kind of liked the idea of elite specs trickling out into the game. You know, a Living World release gives you an elite spec. That would let them see how it affects the meta in a more isolated way, you know. And this is a little bit of that. Actually, to try really hard to put a positive spin on this, it's kind of interesting to think, this is a meaty update. This is genuinely a really meaty thing, and more meaty than what we would have had in Living World of the past, you know, like getting straight up new weapon in episode 5 of the Living World season or something. You just wouldn't see. I think these quarterly updates people will keep the game installed and pay more attention to Guild Wars for these kinds of updates than they were for like Living World in the middle of, say, Season 3, Season 4, Icebrood Saga. Do you get what I mean? Like, where exciting stuff like that didn't really happen. Anyway, let's just see what they say. To round off the system update, we're granting each profession proficiency with an additional weapon. Like we've said, we're going to be getting to play with a new weapon, and changing out your first 5 skills is one of the most impactful parts of Elite Spec for many players. I just want to linger on that for a second, Boots. Do you agree with that? Do you think that... Because I've seen a lot of people in the comments say, yeah, it's really just give me a new weapon and it's good enough. But I don't know, man. A new mechanic, new utilities, new traits.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, their statement isn't wrong. It is one of the most impactful parts of Elite Specialization. But, like, it depends how many they're counting. So, yeah, let's say there's 4 different impactful parts of an Elite Specialization. Yes, this is one of them.
It's kind of a nothing comment, really, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah.
When you add one of... Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm a little skeptical that just giving me a new weapon is going to feel anywhere near the level of a full Elite Spec. But then again, we all already know this is not going to be a full new Elite Spec. Like, get over it.
And again, like I said, these weapons not only being able to be used on the one Elite Spec that you're getting, being able to be used everywhere, is more important, I think, than the weapons you got from the Elite Specs.
More important, interesting.
Well, it's more impactful, I'd say. Like, yeah, like when you get a new weapon from an Elite Spec back in the day, you could only use it on that Elite Spec, so it was basically tied to that Elite Spec, and you think of it as a part of that Elite Spec. But these weapons we're getting now, you use everywhere. It's its own thing. It's going to be more impactful, I think, than just the weapon of an Elite Spec.
Yeah. I see what you mean. They say the weapon and weapon skills we're introducing to each profession are meant to satisfy that same itch of a new skill set. We just focused on making these weapons fit in with existing trait lines. So from that, I guess, you know how there's traits that modify weapons? Do you think that we'll see they create new traits that modify the new weapons? Like they'll shuffle some weak traits around, remove them, and create,
Well, maybe. I know that So what they did with a lot of the traits that modify weapons is they removed how strong they were. But like a lot of them were like reduces the cooldown. Reduces the
that's utilities that they've mostly been doing. That's the big system thing for utilities recently. They haven't really been doing that for the weapon traits.
No, they did that for the weapon traits. They basically removed all the cooldown parts of them.
Oh, okay. I thought that was mostly just a thing with utility skills.
No, I think they did it for the weapon traits as well. Earlier even, I think they did that, and I think that's probably it was in preparation for this, because they don't want if your weapon's allowed to be used everywhere, you don't want to be shoehorned into one trait line.
I suppose. So what, do you think they'll get rid of all those weapon traits?
No, probably not, because I don't know, actually.
I don't think that they're doing that at all, man. I think there's a good chance we'll see some traits for the new weapons. Because there's so many of them in the game, and there's a little bit of shoehorning, I suppose. But having certain
put them
weapons,
where? Put them like in the core skills, or
just in the lines. Basically, look at a trait and say this is essentially a dead trait. Nobody really likes it. It doesn't. Just remove it and then invent a new trait, and that new trait has
pistols.
Something
why not?
For a new weapon,
yeah. There's no reason not to do that.
I think they've done stuff sort of like that in the past. We will see. That'll be interesting to follow as it goes along. They say this is the second major release after launch. We're aiming to ship them quarterly. And we'll have more details about the style of play associated with the weapons as we get closer to the feature shipping. It kind of feels to me like they're still nailing some of this stuff down. Later this year, there will be a beta for these changes too. It was already the beta that I missed for, just the other weapon stuff. But so here we go. So this is the list of what everyone's getting. I've dumped these into Tier Maker, and we'll go through these and just give our impression, and we'll just brainstorm what might happen. Okay, now just as a warning to anyone watching this video, this might come out crap. Because before we recorded, Boots was like, there's not much to say, is there? And I think he's right. What can we... This is very speculative, I think, is what you said, didn't you? You said it would be speculative.
Yeah, it's because we don't know anything about the weapons or what the skills are, right?
So let's just jump in, starting with Guardian, who's getting pistols, and This is dual wielding pistol. Not everyone gets to dual wield their stuff. We'll get to those discussions later. But I do appreciate at least that, where they can, they've created 5 skills, So Guardian gets 2 pistols.
So already that it is 5 skills, and that it is main hand and an offhand, and therefore you're able to mix and match with other weapons that Guardians already have.
Yep.
That already for me puts it at least B tier, maybe A tier.
Really? You really like the whole crossing around thing? I just, we said before, like, a meta will settle and then everything else is going to feel kind of, ugh. I feel like that's going to happen with a lot of this as well, where there's a million things we can imagine.
It gives more versatility, though.
I guess so, yeah. And I think from a certain perspective of, hey, I just casually play Guild Wars 2, I want to jump in and try a bunch of shit while I'm in Secrets of the Obscure. You're right, there's suddenly a much bigger, better sandbox. Screw the group play in PvE at the end game where mostly your build's going to be whatever the maths comes down to. There's just more freedom, And so, like, with pistol, what could we be? We could be axe pistol. We could be pistol sword, and that's using some of the other elite specs we've seen.
Pistol shield.
Let's just cover the basics here. What are the pistols going to be like? I'm imagining it's going to be a 900 range weapon, so it will kind of be in that scepter area. But Guardians never really had a great offhand for also that 900 range.
True. So it's a nice ranged offhand. Now, well, focus kind of does.
Yeah, focus has one ability at 1200, but really, and I'm imagining rapid fire as well. Am I wrong for that? I kind of imagine thiefy, unloady type experience.
Sure. Yeah, and I guess Torch has some range to it, but not that much.
I want to say with this, Boots, okay, and I'm going to say this in a couple of places, I think this will feel a little bit like Spectre, because I wouldn't be surprised, now that they have the tech to do direct targeting, it's a Guardian. Do you think it's possible you will shoot magic blue bullets at people to heal them? And you get you get a choice of, it does X to an enemy, Y to an ally.
I think that Guardian already has enough healing options that I don't know if they need to or would want to add more to it.
You don't feel that support is like a big part of just the nature of that class?
No, it does. It definitely is, but I don't know if they need more than they already have.
No, okay. So you're not convinced with that. You think it will mostly just be an enemy, a sort of a mid-range damage type thing?
I think it might be a kind of a hybrid power Condi, kind of like the Harbinger pistol.
Condi? Really?
Yeah, just because a ranged Condi weapon is not something a Guardian really has.
Okay. I want to predict a skill as well for this. I don't know if you want to predict a skill or like invent a skill. But
Sure.
I've got an idea. I'll go first, yeah? Mine is, I think the 5, everyone, I think you're going to fire a massive bullet at someone that explodes and shatters Aegis in an area around where it hits. That's what I think. I think that will be a mechanic on the pit. Somewhere on the pit. It might not be the 5. I've gone hyper specific with my guess there. So it could easily be wrong. But I think that will be an interaction you will see.
Okay. There's probably going to be some kind of movement skill or stun skill on it. Right. So I think pistol 3 is going to be a knockback.
A knockback on the 3? That would be fairly low cooldown for a knockback, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's like the stun on the 3 and the Harbinger.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Guys, I got to be honest, with End of Dragons, I was pretty disappointed with the Harbinger pistol, because it just felt like Engineer pistol. Like, it's identical. It just has... I mean, the specifics of what it does is different, but, it's a salvo, it's a single pew kind of shot on the 3, and, it all feels exactly the same. So I'd like to see them do something special with the pistols for this expansion. What that will be, I don't know. Another thing, Boots. I'm going to predict a skill where we aim the pistol at our feet and shoot it at the ground around us, and it will create a symbol, because there has to be a symbol.
Well, yeah, it's got to have to be a symbol, yeah.
There's going to have to be a symbol, but I think that's the way the symbol will work, and it'll be like a sort of self-peel thing for yourself. It might even be a mini...
I think the symbol is going to be tab targeted. It'll be at the foot of the thing you're targeting.
See, that's a good idea as well, yeah. Like, maybe you shoot the symbol at people. Actually, do you know what would be really cool? What they could do that's really awesome, with the thing of the rapid fire thing? What if you can fire lots of mini symbols off? like multi-symbols from the
Okay,
same
well,
weapon.
that would be crazy.
Well, no, it can be tuned so that it's not crazy. You know, it can be... It can have
the symbol
minor
only
impact.
lasts 1 second.
Or whatever, yeah, exactly. That doesn't matter, but that's kind of a niche, that's a sort of thing that maybe we haven't seen, you know.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool, actually. I like that idea for pistol. If that's what they did, I think it'd be pretty cool. As for where I want to rank it, you said B, because you like that it's a dual wield thing, right? And 5 skills.
I think 5 skills, the fact that it's dual wield, it's you know, hybridization, you could versatile it up. I think an A for me.
Yeah, I think A as well, because I kind of like the fantasy of having pistols on a Guardian.
Yeah.
It's funny, you know, we've come a long way from when Dragon Hunter was announced and people were mad that you're supposed to be virtuous and a Dragon Hunter's cowardly and all this kind of stuff. And now we got them with a pistol, which feels kind of weird in that way as well. It's like almost anti-theme. But I think this is good. I like this. I'm excited.
So is it holy bullets? Is that what's happening here?
I don't know. I guess holy water dipped bullets or something. I mean, they could have like ammunition mechanics on there. You know, to augment the ammo and stuff. A bit like how Bladesworn did a lot with ammo, you know.
Oh, true, yeah, like a symbol with an ammunition count.
Could be, yeah, could be. Well, there we go. Okay, so that's... oh, they could do a skill called, like, Holy Rain, where you shoot in the sky and it's like a mini barrage or something.
Oh, that's good.
I guess that's a bit like Spirit Bow. Whatever. Okay, so there you go. That's Guardian, guys. Let's move on to Rev. So, Rev is getting... I wanted to ask you about this, Boots, because I really don't know why this is happening. Rev only gets the scepter. Oh, well, because there is no offhand scepter. I just answered it. So Rev only gets scepter. It's only allowed to be in the main hand. For a long time, I've wanted to see offhand scepters, for what it's worth. You know, we got that character in Ascalon Catacombs, dual-wielding scepters. When can we do that? I guess ArenaNet didn't want them to have a two-handed, or do they have all the two-handeds already? No, they don't have longbow. I don't know. What do you think about this? It feels like they kind of got screwed a bit because they only get the 3 skills, and it almost feels like artificial for not.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's only 3 skills, that always puts it down to a C. But I think that, you know, it's thematic a little bit. Maybe they're trying to play into like a ritualist vibe finally.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Because it you know, Revenant's all about the spirits and...
So you think about a renegade with a scepter might somehow be fun, theme-wise?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What is... Okay, scepter's magical...
I've got a really good suggestion for this as well. I think
Please.
I think I know what they're going with.
Condition scepter?
Right, okay, I think a weapon to complement Malik's and the corruption line at that range, at a 900 range... I think that works really well. I think that Rev is actually itching for that.
Because right now you've got Mace, basically.
Yeah, you don't really have any great ranged condi. I mean,
well, except for shortbow.
Yeah,
now.
well, yeah, exactly on Renegade. So that can pair with Renegade as well. Maybe you have a short bow and then you have a scepter on the other side. I got it.
Yeah, but you don't need to be a Renegade now.
Yeah, you don't need to be Renegade anymore. You don't need it. But still, I think Scepter on a Malik set, that feels really fun to me. I kind of like that. Not to discredit, though, there is an idea of a supporty Scepter that you could combo with your shield, maybe, or whatever, and kind of a Ventari salvation sort of situation. I really like Ventari, I really like Jarlis, and I really like Corruption, and I feel like they all feel underwhelming while I play them, so I don't know.
So your healing sets for weapons is Staff, and I guess offhand Shield now?
Yeah, Shield is sort of okay for it, because, you know, you splash a bit of protection around and stuff.
Yeah, and besides that, you don't really have anything else. So maybe it is a healing scepter. Maybe it's like a Spectre scepter, where it's kind of healy, kind of Condi.
Oh yeah, it's like the targeting thing as well, maybe, that I just talked about with pistols. Maybe we see on the Revenant's scepter. So yeah, maybe this is a Ventari thing.
Maybe it's a Ventari thing. Yeah.
Or you know, Salvation or something. But yeah, so what do you think about where it should be rated? How is your excitement for this? Mine's fairly low, I must be honest. I would put in C, just in terms of excitement.
I would do C or B. B at the highest.
Let's go C then. You know, because they're only getting 3 skills as well, and I feel like it's one of the whole selection that's coming.
But if it's able to do stuff that play into the ritualist feel, like it actually summons spirits or something like that, like a new mechanic, that would bring it high up.
Yeah, see, a mechanic in three buttons as well. I wonder how deep they can really go with stuff.
Well, they did it with the hammer. It was they have a new mechanic on the hammer for Elementalist.
So what's your take on warrior staff?
Well, they're running out of weapons for warrior is the issue, and staff is one of the weapons. If they continuously want to play into the fact that warrior is anti-magic and want to keep it that way, then they could still do staff, because you could use staff like you do as a daredevil. You hit people over the head with it.
Exactly.
So yeah, maybe we're thinking a monkey kind of warrior.
Like a warrior. See, it's funny, isn't it? Once upon a time, we would be speculating about an elite spec name to go with this, right? And it would be like the warrior monk or something. I want to say, just on the off, this is S for me. Just in terms of, I'm really excited to have a staff on a warrior.
If they create new animations, I will be happy with the warrior staff.
God, listen to us. They best create new animations. I mean, Jesus, come on.
Well, of course, there's going to be new animations, but I'm talking about like really new animations. Not not
as
like
in,
piecemeal.
I know what you mean. You're basically referring to the way the End of Dragons kind of just cut and paste and stitch together a bunch of pre-existing stuff in the game. There were some totally new animations, like think about Spectre Wells and stuff. There were, but also in a lot of places it was like, that's already in the game, that's just recolored or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I get what you're saying. And yeah, I wonder where the overlap with the Daredevil is on that, because I wouldn't want it to feel too much like a Daredevil. I feel like Daredevil nails that fantasy of melee staff so perfectly.
Yeah. Maybe it's staff on a string, and it's ranged staff, but you throw the staff.
What do you think? That's a funny idea. That's almost like a spear thing at that point.
There you go.
I have an idea of where this could be something that feels very different. Okay.
I do have after you talk about that, I have one more thing to say about warrior staff that I'm looking forward to. That's not just about melee staff.
Well, yeah, go ahead. You do yours first. Because mine's crazy. And I feel like
mine is the fact that warrior has a lot of combo finishers, but the only fields it could generate are fire fields.
Oh, you're onto something there. That's very good.
And if we're talking about like a monk kind of situation with a warrior staff, I know it breaks from the pure no magic idea of a warrior, but if one of the buttons on the staff could generate a water field.
Oh, when you say, every time you've said monk, have you been thinking like Guild Wars monk, like healing monk?
Yeah, like Guild Wars monk.
Oh, I've just meant a mix generic between martial artists.
Exactly, like a physical monk, but going back a little bit to the Guild Wars monk, because just it has the same namesake,
Well, I think you're really onto something there. I think that warrior does want a little for another support weapon after Warhorn. The shout build and the healing. If we think about, they're trying to fill itches. They're trying, and especially with the recent boon update, if they're really looking at every class at this point, and we're at a sophisticated level of the game now, where it's like every class should have a heal build, an alacrity build, a quickness build, a DPS build, and preferably Condi or power. Right? If you look at those as the 5 things they really want all classes to have, warrior is smarting for that heal side of it to an extent in certain areas,
but it's not that great.
So, but a staff complementing your Warhorn set. That maybe does a lot with water fields and things, and the field thing is very good as well, Booze. I really like that.
So what I'm hoping for is it gives a water field for all the finishers you have. Now, I do mean though I would really appreciate it if warrior got back a trait that was taken away from it at that point. What was it called again?
The doubled finishes thing. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You're obsessed with that trait, man.
Your combo finishers trigger twice. Was it called something synergy? Powerful synergy.
Yeah. I think
and I think that if we brought that back, then warrior with blast finishers in the water field could be an interesting heal build.
I like the idea of a heal build that's mostly focused on the water fields as well. That would feel a little bit more vanilla to me. It would be quite cool.
Yeah. It would need more than just the double finishers, but it would be an interesting thing.
Oh man, I don't know about that part of it, but it wasn't that great of a trait. I mean, it was cool. It was a cool trait. All right, my idea is a lot more stupid than what you just said. All right, I'm basically in your corner. But talking about like other itches, when we talk about like, let's imagine this is a melee brawling staff. You know, you're hitting people with the staff. How do we distinguish it from the way Daredevil uses it? Daredevil feels very aggressive. I know it's actually not a lot of, you know, it's got evade and blinds and all kinds of things on its kit. But what if, and we look at Warrior and you look at Shield, right? You get 2 skills with Shield. You basically get 1 button, the long block. What if it's like a parry staff kind of feel? You know, it's like a two-handed... This is going to sound terrible, but like a two-handed shield type experience. I'm still talking about a melee brawler, but I'm talking about, you know, the idea is like lots of counters and reversals and... You know, so it's a bit... It's a more guarded feel to what Daredevil does with its melee staff.
Right, you know, but wouldn't that be like... difficult to put into the game since... Spellbreaker kind of already does that?
Well, yeah, it's not tied to... You could put it with Spellbreaker and say it's a good match, you know? But yeah, I mean, kind of like a full countery... What I mean is like maybe a more defensive kind of melee brawler. That's how... What I'm really trying to get to here is how they would distinguish that with the Daredevil who's already using hit people with a staff fantasy. So you might see they go a little bit more with that. It's essentially the same thing. It's just that's the slight twist they put on it, you know? It's a bit more guarded. So,
sure, yeah. Instead of evades, you do blocks, or...
you know, when you talk about shielding and defending and stuff like that, it's never exciting to people, so I don't know.
No, but I do remember that Elite Speculation you once did that was main hand shield and off hand shield.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one, yeah. The Sentinel, I think we called it.
Yeah.
So there you go, so that's Warrior. Guess what I've done, Boots, for this next one?
What?
I've picked the horrible font again.
Oh, why have you done this?
Go and read that to me, Boots. What does that say?
It says Gingliabap Schneerball.
Engineer Shortbow, brilliant. Yeah, so general take on this, general vibe instantly?
Yeah, I think the first thing I ask is why?
Yeah, for me, I'm sorry, I'm putting this fairly low. Okay, it's 5 skills, so it can't be in D tier. But
it's not thematic to an engineer, number 1.
Do you remember what we said in the previous video where we were talking about like being able to combo things? Like if I put a shield on my NG, what have I got for the main hand? You know, what can I really play with? And yeah, now I get mace. You know, I really, you know how Rev just got Scepter main hand? I would have really liked something like that on Engineer here. You know, just give me a new main hand. Give me an axe. Axe main hand. I think.
I don't know. They're also smarting for offhands.
Well, whatever, yeah, I mean, if it had been like the Guardian situation, dual wield, and you get 5 skills, and you can combo, that would have been really nice for me as an engineer. I would have had a lot of fun with that, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Shortbow is just, it's really odd. Engineer is kind of brutal because of the kits, you know, so it's like, they already cover so many bases when it's like, how is Shortbow Engineer going to feel different to Grenadier, you know, the grenade kit? Well, I don't need to use a utility skill now, fine, but... You know, I kind of have that 900 range.
It's probably, you know, it's probably going to be. I think what will bring it up to a B is it's probably going to be like a Hawkeye kind of situation where
like compound bow kind of.
Yeah, where all the arrows you shoot do special things like you know, explode on impact. You know. Create anyway, that kind of thing. That kind of thematic aspect.
I think you're right. I think that's 100% what they'll do. That's got to be the theme, right? It's like gadgets and gizmos in arrows.
Yeah, I mean, functionally, it's not different from anything else, but thematically, at least it looks nice.
You know what? You might have put that to it. I'm sure that's what they'll do. That maybe it deserves a B then.
Yeah.
Maybe it deserves a B because there could be all kinds of, you know, and I really like that kind of Inspector Gadget side of NG, and I feel like that hasn't been emphasized for years. You know, like slick shoes and rocket boots. I really like the gizmos as a part of their theme. And when Hollow came out, it was all about the hard light, right? And when Scrapper came out, it was all about the gyros. And when Mech came out, it was all about the mech. We haven't had like toy box kind of vibe for ages. And I think we'll get that again.
What about like okay, are we going back to creating a skill for one of them?
Okay, yeah, shoot, go ahead. What was your idea?
Skill 5 on the shortbow is fire a mini turret. So you area of effect, you place it wherever you want, 1200 range, let's say. You shoot it, and then for 6 seconds, it's a little turret that shoots bullets at the target.
Okay, I kind of like that. And does it get the turret trait? Does the turret trait get an update for that as well? So you have an incentive to pair it with a few utility turrets too.
Sure, yeah.
Because I like Turretier. I think, I've said this a few times over the years, that there are certain builds that I think should always be strong, just because people come into the game looking for that theme. And people laugh at them, but, a lot of players want to feel like they have a place. Like, if you pick Necro at character creator, a lot of people are thinking about being a badass minion mancer, and then they get disappointed later when they realise it's so weak. And I know with minions, it's so passive, blah, blah, blah. The same arguments go for turret, actually. There's maybe good reasons why these things aren't strong. But I feel like they deserve at least a little bit of a space, because there is such a big captive audience instantly for them, So anything that does stuff with turrets is on that list for me. That's one of those things. So yeah, I kind of like that. I'll guess a skill as well.
Sure.
I think it's you're going to be able to fire a little cloaking field that like showers an area in like mini stealth or something. Maybe
on like
the 4 or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Like 25 seconds.
Yeah, like some long cooldown. It's like a tiny little sneak gyro for a little while
sure.
or something.
Why not?
Know. The thing is, if you go too utility wacky with it, it's just not going to be good.
Well, I think what you do is you make it not do stealth automatically. You make a smoke field.
I mentioned grenades, Boots. Do you think that they might fire grenade? Do you think they'll have an explosive skill on there that gets explosive synergies?
Yeah, I think your skill 2, Oh, maybe the auto attack even could just be like a little exploding shot.
Oh no! I like the idea of the skill 2 is like short bow 3 on Rev.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it being a reverse of that, maybe, but it's grenades or something. And you just spray out a bunch of grenades in front of you, or something, something like that. Well, yeah, this is a weird one, guys. We've given it a B here. To be honest,
I think it's fine. I think it'll be good.
V's maybe a little bit. Yeah, okay, if Boots is happy with a B, I'm happy with a B. All right, we got Ranger.
Ranger.
With dual-wielding maces.
So already, though, dual-wield, 5 skills, and versatile. So it starts at a B.
No, I think it starts at a C.
Because
I'm going to be really mean here. I'm going to be really unfair about this. I just think mace is lame. It doesn't pair at all with Ranger, really. Okay, all right. I got one idea, Boots. I got one idea that might put this at B. All right, and that is, how when they get an axe, they're throwing axes. What if this is throwing hammers? What if this is like throwing maces? Maybe just the main hand, or maybe just the offhand, or something.
Ranger has a lot of ways to do range.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And let me be clear. I saw people talking about this the other day, and I feel like I'm in crazy land because I swear we had 1,000 of these conversations over the 10 years, guys. Because it's called a ranger, that doesn't mean it's always a range. All right, it means like a ranger, like that travels. It's like Aragorn was a ranger, from the north.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to do everything range. So I'm falling into that trap a little bit with the throwing hammer thing. But, okay, if it's not that, what am I going to do? I'm going to bonk, and I'm going to stun, and I'm going to daze. And, amazing.
And block, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think possibly that's what it is. Like a 600 and lower, maybe 450 range kind of bruiser situation. But, we just got a hammer from Untamed, so it might feel similar to that in some ways.
I had an interesting... you mentioned you could select the hammer skills on... in the beta. I had an interesting proposition. Could you dual-wield hammers and have all of them on the one row selected as one type, and then on the other row selected as the other utility? The other type?
I don't know the answer to that, but I assume, yeah.
See, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? Anyway, that's a bit of a sidebar. Okay, there's one other thing about this as well, Boots. With ranger skills, one of these skills will do something, but it will also buff our pet's next attack. Right?
Sure.
So I'm going to predict that we have a button that means our next pet attack will stun or daze. Depends where they put it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. But I think we'll trigger that, and it'll be our next pet attack, or it'll be like our next pet attack rips stab or something. I don't know, if they do something really wacky with the maces, where it's not in that bruiser role at all, it's like they're flaming maces or something. This
is what happens. Okay, this is my skill prediction. You don't get it when you're going mace something else or something else mace, but if you're dual wielding the maces, your skill 3 changes over, like a dual skill, and you pull out a drum and just beat the drum.
Oh, wow.
And it gives everybody, inspiration, like a bard, and everybody gets barrier.
That's a hell of a prediction, man. You're actually saying there's going to do 6 skills there then? What? Because you got the generic skill 3 as well.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got another skill prediction here as well, and I think it'll be the 2. I think we hold our arms out, like in a T pose, with a mace, and then we spin on the spot. And we can move around while we do it. It's like whirling defense, but you get a bit of mobility, and what it's spamming weakness while we do it. That's what I think. That's what I think that is. But I'm not excited about this. All right, enough chit chat. I'm not excited. I'm putting this at C, man. I'm sorry.
I think that I'm not that excited about it either, but I think it's still a B just based on versatility.
Okay, I'll put it a B. All right. So now we're on Thief, who gets axe only in the main hand. Now that sounds bad, but let's remember Thief with its dual skill mechanic. Was it you that gave me the number before? It's like 7 new skills. I think it's in the Spud Discord. I think people were talking about it in Spud Discord.
How many offhand do we have? Dagger, pistol.
I believe it's 7 is what I heard. It's no matter what the actual number is, it's a lot of new buttons. Fun ways to combo it. Unfortunately, we didn't get in the offhand as well, which would have been really huge, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because then you get the other one. You get the other new dual skills from the other main hand weapons.
I quite like the theme of this, and further, I think I know what they'll do mechanically with this as well. So for me, it's A, and I think I've got a pretty good prediction.
Executions.
Oh, you think execute? Well, maybe I'm wrong then. I think it's going to be a little bit more about cleave. I think it's going to feel a bit firebrandy. It's going to be about cones in front of you. I think it's going to be a slightly more cleavy kind of main hand.
Yeah, like a better at damage sword.
Kind of. Yeah, sword's a bit more narrow, and depending what you combo it with, obviously changes it a lot. Pistol whip is very different to shadow shot. But I think. Oh, there's also another fun thing I wanted, before I forget this, that I wanted to talk about with Thief, which is if you have no offhand, they're going to make a new one of those skills too. And they're like terrible. Actually, Twisting Fangs is one of the coolest skills to talk about, I think, in Guild Wars 2, because Twisting Fangs was amazing in Guild Wars 1, and in the sequel, it's just awful. I wish that those would get a buff, man. I really do.
So actually, hold on a second. Skill prediction. The ambush skill for the axe, I think, is Executioner's Axe. And I think that it'll be like a Heartseeker, but as your ambush skill, as your stealth skill.
Oh, okay. All right, so as you come out of stealth, you do like a leap towards someone, more damage when they're low health?
Yeah.
Oh, are you thinking of it as like a Darius thing from League? That's a little jump and a big overhead swing execution. Do you know Darius and League?
I do not, but that sounds...
All right. Some people in the comments will know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it could be that. I think I'll go the other way just for the sake of interest here. I will, so we got 2 different opinions. I'll say this is a big cleave. The ambush is like it's AoE. I think it might even be a spin. Okay. It will be like a spin all around you, and you reeve all around you, and it's a 360 degree.
Oh, that's cute. I like that thing. Too.
So we'll see which one of those it is. And it's A tier for me. I think it's a good fantasy. Lots of combos coming out of it. We could sit here and talk about every potential thing with every offhand. I don't want to do that because...
Yeah, I agree that it's A tier because it is very interesting, but it would have been S tier if you got also an offhand.
Oh, really? I wonder what else deserves S. Oh, we'll see. We'll see as we go along. But I do think, guys, you'll get a shadow step somewhere with this.
You have it on skill 2 for the sword.
Do you know what I really want? If you have it sword offhand, if it's axe sword, I want like that double strike to be like something cool and worthwhile that makes that set feel good. I really want.
Okay, so here we go. Ready?
Okay.
What is it? Sword, dagger, dual strike? Is it sword dagger dual strike or pistol dagger dual strike? That you stab and then teleport backwards.
That's neither. That's sword 2.
No. I think it's dagger pistol. Dagger pistol.
That's
dual
pistol.
Attack.
That's shadow shot. That's just blind them and leap in with a shadow step.
I'm thinking that's pistol dagger. Dagger pistol is the other way around.
No. Oh yeah. You're thinking about pistol dagger. Yeah. You're talking about the Condi attack with the Torment, yeah. You hit the 3 and you move back. Yes, you're right.
So I think Axe Dagger is going to dual attack is throw your axe at the target, it hits, and then it flips to a Shadow Step. You could Shadow Step in and take it out and do more damage.
Oh, a bit like a Shadow Steppy kind of Impale from Warrior almost. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, okay. So we'll have that prediction. If we get anything close to that, even on any of the weapons, I'll give you a big thumbs up for that.
Cool.
Okay, so there you go, guys. Thief. Next we've got Elementalist, who gets pistol only in the main hand. I'll default it to B here. Again, it's only main hand, but they're compensated because they have attunements. So
that's right. So that's a lot.
So yeah, it's actually 12 skills.
And also on Weaver, it's even more.
Yes. Oh, and that's a good point. I wanted to mention that in the previous video. Weaver is kind of nuts, actually, for a lot of this stuff. Because Weaver means anything they ever do for Ellie, which already was going to be a nightmare for everything. They have to do even more as well. Yeah. It's just hilarious, really.
So now the question is, are they going to keep that in mind when they're designing the pistol? And instead of having to design, I guess, like 6 new skills or something for the Weaver, will they do the thing that they did with the hammer and create a new mechanic for the 3rd button on the pistol that they could just kind of like easily design the Weaver things for it?
I hope they don't. I think that would be a real cop-out. I want to be clear here. We're in a position where we've lost a lot not having elite specs. I want some quality from this. I really do. I don't want to be looking for little ways to squeeze out, get out of every little thing. I want to see they do the whole thing, That was what was so impressive about Weaver when POF came out, because it was one of those times where they really exceeded my expectations. It's like, wow, I can't believe they've done this, and they've done it for all the underwater weapons and so on and so on. Let's keep the ball high, I think. The bar high.
I think this is an S tier for me.
Really? An S tier?
Yep.
Wow.
Because you have what for 900 range?
Scepter.
That's it.
See, I don't know whether, just as an aside, I don't know whether I really care that much about having a range threshold covered, because technically, it's not hard in any format, in any era.
No, I know, but I'm saying that people are a little annoyed with Scepter being their only option for that range.
Well, no, but Staff is an option for that range as well, just
yeah, but it's also very slow, and both of them feel very slow. This will be a quick single target rather than multi-target weapon, and I think it'll be fun for a lot of players.
Do you think Scepter feels slow, even though if you're playing like a power Scepter,
right? I mean, if you're doing like fresh air and stuff, no, yeah, I think that doesn't feel slow, but I think the skills on Elementalist Pistol will be faster.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right. I think that'd be nice. Do you know what I'd like more? Offhand pistol in that scenario. I'd like something new to combo with my Scepter.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. But you're getting you're getting Warhorn now.
I suppose that's true as well. Yeah, and some of those combos we're probably not thinking about as well at the moment. I kind of like the pistol thing, Boots. In that, what I've always wanted is an elemental ammunition thing. I think I've wanted short bow on Ellie more than anything else for a long time now. I think I'd really like a short bow. And here, it feels like I'm getting pistol because short bow would be too much, even more skills is too much work, so we get pistol.
Yeah, I mean, pistol, just one weapon on Elementalist is already a lot.
So it's like slightly below par for me. I shouldn't, par's probably a really arrogant way of putting it. It's slightly below what I really would have loved. I also kind of feel like because we're getting pistol here, we may never see a short or a longbow. And I know there's frostbow guys, and maybe if they ever do a rework to those, they'll feel more impactful, blah, 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 blah. But still, I think short, but I really like the idea of firing watery arrows and fiery arrows and earthy arrows.
An arcane archer.
Yeah, somehow, when it's a pistol, for some reason, that fantasy doesn't feel as cool to me. I don't know why. That might just be some weird specific with me. So for me, I think that's an A or even a B. But if you're really excited about it, S. We
could split the difference and say A then, because that's fair.
Are you super excited about Warrior Staff like I am?
I don't think I'm as excited about Warrior Staff.
Well, so then it's only fair for me to put that one in S.
Okay.
Because there's one you're really excited about and there's one I'm really excited about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other ideas you've got for? I mean, I think the thing with pistol boots is just every time we see it in the game so far, it's a very similar what all the bullets do and how they operate. You know,
that's true, but you do have 4 elements in this case.
Yeah, so one element will be the engineer harbinger experience. One element will be the thief experience, which is pretty damn similar too. And maybe they can do some interesting, fun gimmicks.
And one element will now be the new Guardian experience.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that'll be water or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. And I really like Scepter on Elementalist. I think it's got some interesting quirks to it, like Earth 2 on there and stuff, you know. But some of that's nostalgia as well. Like, I have a lot of nostalgia for a skill like Phoenix. But there you go. All right, so that's Elementalist. Just 2 more to do now. We got the Mesmer with the rifle. What are your thoughts here?
I mean, yeah, I get a 1200 or 1500 range Mesmer.
You love your 1500. I don't think they'll do much 1500.
Yeah, no, it'll be 1200 probably. Didn't they reduce Deadeye range?
I think stuff has been reined in the past few years. I'm pretty sure.
Let's say so 1200 range Mesmer is already kind of scary.
Well, Greatsword already fits
you have
that
the Greatsword. Yeah, but these are projectiles instead of just the
beams.
The beams. So probably they'll do a little bit more damage, being projectiles.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Interesting usage of the budget kind of thinking there. The Greatsword's kind of weird to me because Mirage Greatsword kind of is pressure cooker damage, like vroom vroom zap zap zap. You know, a lot of other variants of Greatsword, you can burst, you can spike with it. Greatsword, as far as power is concerned, already has those spikes. However, you do have to move into melee to spike someone with a Greatsword, a power Greatsword. So maybe this will be a ranged way of getting some spikes out.
Now, just like Warrior, Mesmer lacks a way to heal people.
Yes, this is what I was going to say, yeah.
So it's possible that we're going to get like a Overwatch Ana type ranged healing weapon.
Oh, I don't know how that works. How does Ana work?
Well, Ana is, you shoot people with a sniper rifle to heal them.
Oh, okay, right, just straight up as simple as that. Yeah, I think if they were going to do that, I would have really loved a Warhorn so that I can play my Inspiration Bard kind of fantasy. But they've gone right. So I don't know. This could be that targeting thing again. Do you think you shoot inspirational bullets at people? It's weird, isn't it? I don't know.
It's very weird, yeah.
I don't know about this. I really don't. I'm putting this at C personally just because I'm not into it at all. I don't really see how it slots in. The one thing I do have to say that I think will be interesting, I have a skill prediction for this boots, okay, is I think that the Phantasm on it, obviously it's going to be a rifle Phantasm. Now, in competitive, my favourite Phantasm in the game is the Torch Phantasm. Because, you know, it appears as a wind-up and, you know, you can dodge it at the right time, you can move out of its cone. Like, there's a really interesting interaction going on there. I really like the idea of the Mesmer rifle having a Phantasm like that. So, it comes out with its rifle, it kneels down, it's like Death's Judgment. You see the laser beam? And you can dodge. It's basically like dodging little mini Death's Judgments. And maybe maybe it has ammo and you can put 2 up and you can stagger the timing of the 2. So someone can dodge one, but maybe not the other, and you know, I think that will be cool, and I would love to see them do that. There's also the matter of rifle clones, and I just
rifle on Mirage with the ambush.
Yeah, I just imagine that the clones will pew pew. Frankly, I don't know.
Probably.
But also, I think, do you think as well? There's probably just going to be some kind of bouncing bullet type stuff here. I mean, I know Mesmer already has that with the Pistol 5, but they'll probably, and they already have, you know, bouncing with the staff autos, but I think we'll probably see something like that.
Yeah, I guess so, especially if it's like shooting healing bullets.
I was also thinking, everyone, a bit about Guild Wars 1 here, because, you know, what can they take out of Guild Wars 1 and pay homage to? There's still like the whole skill stealing and skill manipulation areas of Mesmer, which have been sort of nerfed away over Guild Wars 2's lifespan, and were a big part of the Guild Wars 1 Mesmer, but I don't see how that fits into rifle either. You know, I don't really see much here, I'm afraid, so it's at C for me.
I agree with you. I said C for me not because Not because I think it'll be bad. I think they're probably gonna make it interesting, but thematically it doesn't make too much sense to me. Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing some shifts I want to make, but we'll do Necro first here. Okay, so then we got dual-wielding swords on Necro. I love this, Boots. I really like it.
Like I said, it already starts at B because it's versatile and 5 skills.
Yeah, so you get lots of new combos to play around with. Axe Sword, for example, is something I really want to, I like the vibe of that. And, I'm an edgy sucker. I like the idea of the whole Dark Reaper, whatever kind of thing.
You're gonna lick his sword.
I don't, bloody kind of swords. I think blood should be a big theme with this.
But why is it okay? So what will distinguish this from Dagger besides having slightly more cleave?
Well, see, Dagger's interesting because they just did that update that changed the Dagger too. So it's like a packet that you can dodge the initial packet, but now it just rolls in the background, and it feels good. And I feel like that's motivated by some sword stuff that's coming. I would really like it to be like vampiric and stuff. I don't know. It's at least A for me. It's like the top of A as far as I feel on this.
I think so too. I think it's possible main hand sword will have some Condi components to it, and offhand sword will have no Condi components to it. Just so that you could go dagger sword and have a power build, and go sword torch or sword dagger and have a Condi build.
Oh, that's a really cool idea. That's very cool. It's a bit like how Ranger works with its oh god, no, I was going to say with its dagger, but that's not necessarily true actually. Or its axe. Its axe kind of felt Condi for a long time, but its offhand axe always felt very, very power oriented.
Right, yeah.
I kind of like that idea with the Necromancer.
Is Necromancer missing anything that we can think about? Healing, kind of. I mean, it has barrier, and it has a good healing build in Scourge, but
you'll notice so little of that is through its weapons, which is quite interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that says something about the way that they can actually treat some of these others, the Mesmer and the
maybe
warrior.
It's like a lifesteal share to other people kind of situation.
I mean, that would be awesome. I'd really like that. There are a couple of things to talk about here. One is life force gain. Do you think they'll do anything fancy or interesting with swords on life force?
Have they ever done anything interesting or fancy with life force gain?
Well, usually the way you generate life force with the weapons is like through the auto. So then how the auto interacts is a little bit different. And then like with axe, you get a lot of life force from the 2. Yeah. You could trade staff to be getting the life force from all of the marks. Just wondering, there will be life force on the sword somehow. I don't know whether they would actually have something further to go with on that.
Yeah, I don't have any ideas at the moment.
Also, I don't know whether we'll be swinging the sword much. I wonder if we'll use it as like a focus for magic casting as much as anything else. Kind of like how you don't really swing the axe. You wave it around a bit like a wand, and it's magic that's coming out of it. I wouldn't be surprised if the sword stuff feels the same as that.
Is staff the only 1200 range thing that Necro has?
No, Focus 5 is 1200, and I think the Scythe from Focus rolls all the way out there, maybe? Or is that only 900, actually?
Imagine how much they would be breaking convention by doing 1200 range swords.
I kind of like the idea of, throwing, telekinetically throwing swords around, but I don't know, that's very virtuoso, isn't it? And we just haven't experienced
it's a little
bit
much. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a thought though. I don't know whether they'll do anything fun here beyond what we've talked about, but I like the fantasy, and I'm sure they have some surprises for us. Go with the blood, I think, on that, and that would be good. Okay, so to round this out, Boots, I want to put something in D. We have to be
okay.
We have to fill them all out. Yeah, so I think that goes down to D. But then I think equally, I feel about the same as I do with the Mesmer rifle. And then therefore I think Ranger Mace fits in there. An Engineer Shortbow survives in B because of the idea that it will be like Hawkeye, like you said. I think that works really well. And these ones are all quite exciting.
I think Mesmer rifle should at least stay in C just because it is at least 5 skills.
Okay, alright, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough with that. And then I think I would personally shift Ellie down. But aside from that, I think there you go. I think that's our list. That's sort of how we're rating them.
Now, hold on a second, though, before we do this. Are you sure Ranger Mace duel at C? Because I did prescribe the rule.
Yeah, I know. You really settled on that rule. I think we should be flexible about that rule. But
the versatility of having duel...
I just don't think it matters that much. But okay, we can do that. All right, there you go. So Ranger Mace duel.
Done. I'm happy with this.
So the only people... Oh no, Ellie and Thief both get less than 5. And yet they're still rated quite high. So there you go, guys. That's our dual take on the new weapons, Secrets of the Obscure. Obviously, it's not on the actual expansion announcement, but it is a part of the release. Sorry, but it is a part of the expansion. Second big update. They're hoping to do them quarterly. What that essentially means is we're looking at this around Christmas, January, February, March. Okay, so somewhere around there. There'll be a beta coming up, so there'll be more coverage on all of this. If you guys have any takes, please feel free to drop them in the comments, or alternatively, another really good place to measure them is in the Discord. There's a link in the description, and you can find me there. And yeah, that's it. Thanks very much for coming, Boots. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you on the next one. We could probably talk about relics, maybe have some ideas. We'll see what we think about that.
Oh yeah, I'd love to talk about relics.
Could do. So thanks for coming, Boots. Seriously, thanks for watching to you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.